UFC Vegas 86 wasn't as good as it should have been. However, after watching a UFC event, the most common question which comes in fans' minds is what's next for these biggest winners and losers. So let's check what are the next available and most sensible fights after UFC Vegas 86. I'm the guy with the Indian accent and you are on Fightbook. Jack Hermansson pulled it out of the fire, relying back against serious adversity and proving his spot as the divisional gatekeeper. He's 4-4 in his last 8 UFC bouts, which means this loss could have knocked him out of the rankings, but now after this much needed win, he can get another chance to prove himself a worthy top 10 middleweight. Most sensible fight for him is taking the loser of Whittaker vs Costa, which happens this weekend if Costa doesn't pull out. If Costa vs Whittaker really happens, then I think the loser would be Costa, but if Costa somehow pulls off the upset and beats Whittaker, then Whittaker will no longer be a top 5, which means the Hermansson fight would be sensible for the loser too. After finishing 5 fights in a row, Pyfer missed a golden opportunity to crack the UFC middleweight rankings. He has already proved himself a good puncher and would have won if it was a 3-rounder. So who wouldn't want him to see against Violent Obama, who also fought on the same card and beat the hell out of a tough opponent in Brad Tavares. Both are already on the verge of the rankings, so it makes a lot of sense. This would definitely be a big treat for violence lovers. Dan Ige fought to prove a point tonight and the point has been proven. Ige has now won 3 out of his last 4 fights, including 2 with bonus earning finishes. Now assuming that the UFC doesn't have anything on number 9 Giga Chikadze's docket, this is the fight to make next. Michael Johnson is back in the win column again, still doing his thing, nearly losing fights he should win. At this point, there is not much needed to seek a competitive step up. Although 1-2 in his last 3, Jordan Levitt is a solid enough to bring Johnson back to a 50-50 UFC win-loss record. Rodolfo Vieira is now on a 2-fight finish streak with overall UFC record of 5 wins and only 2 losses. All of 5 wins came via submission. Vieira probably needs one more to crest into the top 15, but he is right there. Andre Muniz, who after losing 2 fights in a row brought himself back into the win column in his last fight, is the best matchup for him. Before losing that following fights, Muniz was on a 5-fight win streak and now 6-2 in the UFC. Vieira and Muniz would make for a fascinating grappling match. Ideally, we will see it in Brazil at UFC 301. Loma Lookboonmee has won 5 of her last 6 fights and it's about time she gets a shot at the rankings. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is the obvious fight, but she's booked. Number 9 Pinheiro is a good alternative. And now that's all. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you in the next video, so till then, do whatever you want.